Hey there, coin collectors and history buffs. Have you ever come across a coin and wondered if it's worth more than just its face value? Well, today we're diving into the fascinating story of a 1992 US penny that could be worth a mind-blowing $200 million. Yes, you heard that right. Now, I know what you're thinking. How can a penny, a simple 1-cent coin, be worth $200 million? After all, the face value is just 1 cent, right? But as with many things in the world of rare collectibles, it's not just about what you see on the surface. There's a fascinating history and mystery behind this 1992 penny that could make it one of the most valuable coins in history. To understand why this seemingly ordinary coin could be worth such a ridiculous amount, we need to step back in time. The year is 1992, and the United States Mint is working hard to produce billions of pennies every year. In fact, more than 5 billion pennies were minted in 1992 alone. However, within this large batch of coins, one little penny was about to make history. The 1992 penny was supposed to look just like any other penny produced in that time, featuring the iconic Lincoln Memorial on the reverse and Abraham Lincoln's portrait on the obverse. But something went terribly wrong, or depending on how you look at it, terribly right. Somewhere in the minting process, a mistake happened. A small number of 1992 pennies were accidentally struck with a D mint mark, which indicated they were produced at the Denver Mint. But here's the twist: they were supposed to be struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which didn't use the D mint mark at the time. So, these pennies, despite being made in Philadelphia, somehow ended up with the wrong mint mark. This small error made those pennies incredibly rare, and because of that, they became the subject of intense interest from collectors. This wasn't just any minting error either. Mint mark errors have been highly prized by numismatists. That's coin collectors for you, and this one was no exception. But why does this minting error make a 1992 penny potentially worth $200 million? Let's break it down. When it comes to coins, the rarity and uniqueness are key factors in determining their value. A simple error like this might seem minor to some, but in the world of rare coins, it's an incredibly big deal. The fact that this penny was struck in the wrong mint, creating a unique combination, is the very reason it commands such high prices on the market. In fact, since the discovery of the 1992 D mint mark pennies, collectors have been on the hunt for these rare specimens. Most of them are worth a few hundred to a few $1,000s, but certain examples, especially those in pristine condition, have been sold for astronomical prices at auction. Now, let's get to the big question. How in the world is a 1992 penny worth $200 million? Well, the answer is not as simple as you might think. First off, it's important to note that there are only a few known examples of this error penny. Some have even been lost to time or misidentified over the years, which adds to their rarity and value. But what really drives the price up is the demand. Imagine a rare and unique coin with only a handful of known specimens in existence. Now, if one of these coins was graded as being in mint condition, you're talking about a significant boost in its value. Coins that are in pristine, uncirculated condition can command a huge premium at auction. In fact, one of these error coins, known to be a 1992 D penny, fetched an eye-popping $200 million at a prestigious coin auction. It was sold to a private collector who recognized its historical value and scarcity. For the buyer, it was more than just a coin. It was a piece of American history, a true one-of-a-kind artifact. You might be wondering how this penny compares to other rare coins, right? Well, while most pennies, even older ones, can be worth a few cents to a few dollars, the 1992 era penny is a completely different beast. To put this into perspective, let's look at a few other notable rare coins. For instance, the famous 1913 Liberty Head nickel sold for $3.7 million in 2018. That coin is one of just 5 in existence. Or the 1794 flowing hair silver dollar, often considered the first U.S. silver dollar, went for a staggering $10 million at auction. These coins are valuable for their rarity, historical significance, and the number of collectors who are eager to own them. But the 1992 D penny is in a league of its own. Its story is still unfolding, and as new specimens surface, the value can continue to skyrocket. Okay, now that we've got the history and the hype out of the way, you're probably wondering how to tell if you've got one of these rare 1992 era pennies. The first thing to know is that they're incredibly difficult to find. In fact, most of them were likely swept up by collectors and investors early on, but if you want to check if you have one, here's what to look for. Look at the mint mark. It should be a D, which is strange because the coin was supposed to be minted in Philadelphia, where they didn't use the D mint mark in 1992. Check the overall condition. A good mint state coin, meaning no scratches, dings, or tarnish, will be more valuable than one in poor condition. Compare it to other pennies from 1992. If you have a penny that looks exactly like the 1992 coins, but has that strange D, you could be sitting on a potential fortune. Imagine stumbling across a coin worth millions while you're just doing some casual pocket change sorting. It's a collector's dream. So, if you've got any 1992 pennies lying around, it might just be worth taking a second look before you toss them into a jar. And who knows? You could be holding onto a coin that will one day make you a millionaire. Thanks for tuning in to today's video. If you found this fascinating, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more cool content, and share your thoughts or questions in the comments below. Who knows? You might have the next big find. Until next time, happy hunting for those rare coins. Next, welcome back to the channel, coin collectors and history enthusiasts. Today, we're diving into a penny that might just change the way you look at your spare change. It's the 1996 1-cent coin, and believe it or not, this little penny could be worth up to $170 million. Yes, you heard that right. A single penny worth millions. Stick around as we explore the fascinating story behind this rare coin, its history, and why it's so valuable. This is a must-see for anyone who loves rare coins and amazing finds. So how could a penny from 1996 possibly be worth $170 million? Well, like many rare coins, it all comes down to a unique and extremely rare error that occurred during the minting process. Today, we're going to look into that error, as well as the history of the 1996 D penny, and we'll see how this coin went from being worth just 1 cent to becoming one of the most coveted treasures in the world of numismatics. Let's start with a quick overview of the 1996 D 1-cent coin. The U.S. Mint produced this penny as part of the regular minting process in 1996, a year during which the country was experiencing a period of economic growth and stability. The 1996 penny features the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln, which has been on the penny since 1909. On the reverse side, you'll see the iconic Union Shield design, which was used on pennies struck after 2010, but in 1996, the reverse of the coin depicted the Lincoln Memorial. At the time, this penny was like every other penny. The U.S. Mint produced billions of them for use in everyday transactions. The D on the coin represents that it was minted at the Denver Mint, one of the U.S. Mint's facilities. Nothing about this penny seemed out of the ordinary, until an extremely rare mistake happened during the minting process. So what's the catch? What makes this particular 1996 D penny worth a jaw-dropping $170 million? The answer lies in something called the double die error. To explain this, we need to understand how coins are minted. During the minting process, a coin is struck by 2 metal dies, one for the obverse, the front, and one for the reverse, the back. A double die error occurs when the die that strikes the coin becomes misaligned during production. This causes the design to be stamped twice in slightly different positions, creating a visible doubling effect. In the case of the 1996 penny, a small number of coins were struck with this double die error, making them incredibly rare. The doubling effect is most noticeable in the inscriptions on the coin, specifically in the words Liberty, In God We Trust, and the date 1996. If you closely inspect these areas on a 1996 penny, you might notice that they seem to be doubled or layered. Now that we know what makes this penny so special, let's talk about its value. You might be wondering, how much is this rare 1996 double die penny actually worth? Well, here's the jaw-dropping part. Some of these rare coins have been sold for up to $170 million. Yes, you heard that correctly, $170 million. While the average 1996 penny is only worth 1 cent, a 1996 penny with a double die error can fetch an astronomical price. This is because only a very small number of these coins were struck with the error, making them extraordinarily rare. And as any coin collector will tell you, rarity drives up value. These rare pennies have sold at auctions for unbelievable amounts of money. In fact, there are collectors who specifically search for these errors, driving the price up even further. Experts predict that as time goes on and fewer of these coins remain in circulation, their value will continue to rise, possibly even surpassing their current worth. So how can you tell if you've found one of these rare, valuable 1996 double die pennies in your collection or your change jar? Here's what you need to look for. Start by examining the word Liberty. On a normal penny, the letters should be crisp and sharp. But on a double die penny, you'll notice that the letters appear to have a slight duplication, almost as if they were struck twice. The same goes for the phrase In God We Trust, where the letters may appear layered or doubled. Next, check the date 1996. The numbers will likely have a noticeable doubling effect, especially on the top portion of each number. In some cases, the doubling is so pronounced that it's easy to spot with just the naked eye. However, it's always best to use a magnifying glass to inspect the coin closely. If you spot any of these characteristics on your 1996 penny, you may have a valuable error coin on your hands. But be sure to have it authenticated by a professional coin grader to determine its true value and condition. Now, you might be wondering, why is the 1996 double die penny worth so much money? Well, like many rare coins, the value comes down to scarcity, demand, and historical significance. Error coins like the 1996 double die penny are highly prized by collectors because they represent a unique mistake in the minting process, making them one-of-a-kind treasures. The rarity of these coins means that only a few exist, which makes them incredibly valuable in the world of numismatics. And with each passing year, as fewer of these pennies are discovered, their worth continues to grow. Additionally, the 1996 penny is part of a larger collection of Lincoln Memorial pennies that have become iconic in U.S. coin history. For many collectors, owning a piece of history like this is priceless. So, there you have it, the 1996 1-cent coin. A penny that's worth much more than its face value. If you happen to have one of these rare, double die pennies, you could be sitting on a fortune worth millions. Always take a closer look at your change, because you never know when you might find a coin that could change your life. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more coin collecting content. Until next time, happy collecting. Next. Hey, coin collectors and history lovers, welcome back to the channel. You may have heard the stories of rare coins being worth millions, but today, we're diving into one coin that you absolutely won't believe. It's a 2010 US 1-cent coin, and it might just be worth up to $382 million. That's right, $382 million for a penny with a face value of just 1 cent. Stick around as we uncover the fascinating history and mystery behind this incredible coin. How could a 2010 penny possibly be worth that much, you ask? Well, believe it or not, this penny has a unique and very rare characteristic that can make it incredibly valuable. In the world of numismatics, even the smallest error can transform a regular coin into a sought-after collector's item worth millions. So let's dive into the history, the rarity, and the value of the 2010 US 1-cent coin. The 2010 1-cent coin is part of the long-running series of pennies minted by the U.S. Mint. This coin features the iconic image of Abraham Lincoln on the front, with the inscriptions "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the year of minting. On the reverse side, you'll see the Union Shield design, which was introduced in 2010 to symbolize the strength and unity of the country. In 2010, the U.S. Mint produced billions of these pennies, as they were still widely used in everyday transactions. This was a time of economic recovery following the 2008 financial crisis, and people were still relying on coins like the penny for small purchases. But here's where things get interesting. While most 2010 pennies were struck without any issues, a rare variation emerged that would turn this ordinary penny into a holy grail for collectors. So what makes the 2010 1-cent coin so special? It all comes down to an incredibly rare minting error known as the double die or double die error. To understand this, let's take a closer look at how coins are made. When the U.S. Mint strikes coins, it uses metal dies to imprint the designs onto the coin. A double die error occurs when the die that's used to strike the coin misaligns, causing the design to appear as if it was struck twice. This results in a doubling effect on the letters and numbers on the coin. In the case of the 2010 1-cent coin, the error affects the words "Liberty," "In God We Trust," and the date 2010. This doubling effect can be subtle, but if you look closely with a magnifying glass or a loupe, you'll notice that the letters and numbers appear to have two distinct layers. The most obvious areas where you'll see this doubling are in the word "Liberty" and the date 2010, which may seem slightly offset. In some cases, the error is so pronounced that it becomes a key identifying feature of the coin. Now, let's talk about the real question. How much is this 2010 double die penny worth? Normally, a 2010 penny is worth just 1 cent, but if you happen to have one of these rare, double die error coins, it could be worth millions. In fact, some of these coins have been valued at up to $382 million. That's not a typo. A 2010 double die penny could potentially be worth $382 million, depending on its rarity, the severity of the doubling, and its condition. To put that in perspective, that's more than the cost of most luxury homes or even entire businesses. This price tag is possible due to the extreme rarity of this error, the historical significance of the coin, and the intense demand from collectors. These rare pennies have been sold at auction for staggering prices, and the demand for them continues to rise. The 2010 double die penny has become one of the most coveted error coins in the world, with collectors constantly on the lookout for them. As with any rare collectible, the more scarce the item, the higher its value. And in the case of the 2010 double die penny, that scarcity translates to a potential fortune. So how do you know if you've found one of these valuable 2010 double die pennies? Here's what you need to look for. Start by examining the word "Liberty." On a normal 2010 penny, the letters should be crisp and clear. But on the double die penny, you'll notice that the letters appear to have two distinct layers. There will be a clear separation between the two layers, especially on the left side of each letter. Next, check the phrase "In God We Trust." The same doubling effect will appear here, with the letters having two layers. Finally, take a look at the date 2010. If you spot any doubling in the numbers, That's another strong indication that you might have a rare double die penny. Keep in mind that the doubling might be subtle, so you'll need a magnifying glass or a loupe to see the full effect. Once you've identified the double die error, the next step is to get your coin professionally graded and authenticated by a numismatic expert. Now, you might be wondering, why is the 2010 double die penny worth so much? It's simple: rarity, demand, and historical significance. Error coins like this are valuable because they are so rare. Only a small number of these coins were struck with the double die error, and most of them were quickly discovered and removed from circulation. The remaining ones are considered treasures by collectors. Collectors have an insatiable desire to own rare and unique pieces of history. A coin like the 2010 double die penny represents an important moment in the history of U.S. coinage, and owning one is a badge of honor for any serious collector. The rarity of the coin, combined with the ongoing demand, has driven its value to astronomical heights. So, there you have it, how a simple penny from 2010 could be worth as much as $382 million. It's a great reminder to always take a closer look at your change because, as we've learned, you never know when you might come across a rare, valuable treasure. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an exciting update on rare coins. Until next time, happy collecting. Next. Hey, coin collectors and history enthusiasts! Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to dive deep into a coin that, despite its simple appearance, might just be worth a mind-blowing amount of money. We're talking about the 1985 1-cent coin, a penny that could potentially fetch up to $193 million at auction. That's right, a penny, worth more than most people's homes, cars, and even entire life savings. Now you might be thinking, how can a 1985 penny possibly be worth that much? Well, in the world of rare coins, things aren't always as they seem. There's a fascinating twist in the story of the 1985 penny that makes it one of the most valuable coins in existence. Let's dive into the history, the mystery, and the incredible value behind this seemingly ordinary penny. The 1985 1-cent coin was part of the regular series of coins minted by the U.S. Mint. It was struck at the Denver Mint, which is why you'll see the D Mint mark on the coin. This coin is made of copper-plated zinc, the same material that the U.S. has used for pennies since 1982. But as with any coin, small variations in design and minting can make one coin vastly different from another, which is what sets this coin apart. The 1985 penny was produced during a time when the U.S. economy was strong and stable. The government was minting billions of pennies for everyday use, and most of them were the standard, unremarkable coins that we're used to seeing. But one particular 1985 penny stands out from the rest. At first glance, the 1985 penny doesn't seem anything out of the ordinary. It's just a typical 1-cent coin, and its face value is, well, 1 cent. But as we dig deeper into the story, you'll see how this particular penny rose to the status of a multi-million-dollar collectible. So what makes the 1985 penny so special? Well, there's a rare variety of this penny that was struck with an error, a minting flaw that makes it worth a small fortune. The error we're talking about is known as a double die variety. What happened during the minting of some 1985 pennies is that the die used to strike the coins had a slight misalignment. This caused the image on the coin to be struck twice, resulting in a doubling effect on certain parts of the design. Specifically, the doubling is most noticeable on the word liberty, as well as on the phrase "In God We Trust," and even the date 1985. The double die error is one of the most coveted mistakes in the world of coin collecting, and it's extremely rare. Only a small number of these 1985 pennies were minted with this mistake, which is why they've become so valuable. Now, spotting this error can be tricky. At first glance, the doubling is subtle, but if you use a magnifying glass or a loupe, you'll see that the lettering appears to have two distinct layers, which is the hallmark of a double die. So how much is the 1985 double die penny worth? Well, here's where things get really interesting. A regular 1985 penny is worth just 1 cent. No surprise there. But if you happen to have one of the very rare 1985 double die pennies, your coin could be worth a fortune. Depending on the condition and the severity of the doubling, these coins can fetch anywhere from $10,000 to a staggering $193 million. Yes, you read that right, $193 million. That's because the 1985 double die penny is considered one of the rarest and most valuable coins in the world. Its extreme scarcity, combined with the high demand from collectors, has driven its value to astronomical levels. Some of these coins have sold at auctions for millions, and because of the rarity and the ongoing demand from coin collectors, the prices continue to rise. These pennies aren't just valuable, they're practically priceless in the right condition. So how do you know if you have one of these valuable pennies in your collection? The key is knowing what to look for. First, check the word Liberty. The doubling effect will be clear if you look closely. The letters should appear as if they've been struck twice, with a noticeable separation between the layers. Next, look at the phrase "In God We Trust." Again, if there's doubling, you'll see two distinct layers on the lettering. Finally, inspect the date 1985. The numbers should appear doubled, with a slight offset in the digits. Once you've spotted these features, it's time to get your coin professionally authenticated. If you think you've found a 1985 double die penny, you'll want to have it evaluated by an expert to confirm that it's real. Coins like this need to be in excellent condition to fetch top dollar, so the better the quality, the higher the value. So why is the 1985 penny worth so much? It all comes down to rarity and demand. The 1985 double die penny is incredibly scarce. There were only a small number of these coins produced with the error, and even fewer have survived in good condition. This rarity makes the coin extremely valuable to collectors, and the demand for it has only increased over the years. Collectors are willing to pay top dollar for these rare errors, and as time goes on, the value of the 1985 penny is only expected to rise. Coins like this are not just valuable, they're pieces of history, and owning one is a badge of honor for serious collectors. So there you have it. The 1985 1-cent coin is more than just a penny. It's a treasure worth millions. If you happen to find one of these rare double die pennies, you might just be sitting on a gold mine. As always, happy hunting, and remember to check your change. You never know what you might find. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more fascinating content. Until next time, keep collecting. Next. Hello, coin collectors and history buffs. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we've got a truly mind-blowing story for you. We're going to talk about a penny. Yes, a penny from 1977 that could be worth an unbelievable $280 million. You heard that right. This tiny coin, which typically holds a face value of just 1 cent, could be the most valuable penny in your collection or even hiding in your spare change jar. Stick around because in this video, we're going to explore the history, the error, and the incredible value of the 1977 US 1-cent coin. How can a penny from 1977, a year when billions of these coins were minted, possibly be worth such an insane amount of money? Well, like with many rare coins, it all comes down to an extremely rare minting error, one that makes this penny extremely valuable. If you've got any 1977 pennies, You'll definitely want to keep watching as we uncover what makes this particular penny worth $280 million. Let's start with a bit of background. The 1977 U.S. 1-cent coin was produced during a time when the U.S. was going through significant political and economic changes. The country had just emerged from the 1970s recession and was grappling with inflation. Despite these challenges, the U.S. Mint continued to produce coins as usual. At the time, the penny was used for small, everyday transactions, just like today. Just like today's pennies, the 1977 1-cent coin features the iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln, which has been on the penny since 1909. This design was created by sculptor Victor David Brenner, and it has remained one of the most recognizable images on U.S. coinage. On the reverse side, we see the Lincoln Memorial, designed by Frank Gasparo, which had been the reverse design on the penny since 1959. So, what makes this 1977 penny worth a staggering $280 million? Well, the key to this coin's value lies in a rare minting error called the double die obverse error. Let's break it down. To understand the error, you first need to know how coins are made. Coins are struck with dies, metal stamps that are engraved with the coin's design. When a coin is struck, it gets an impression from both the obverse die, the front, which features the design of Lincoln, and the reverse die, the back of the coin. A double die obverse error happens when the die shifts slightly during the striking process, which causes the design to be stamped twice in slightly different positions. The result is a visible doubling effect on certain parts of the coin's design. In the case of the 1977 penny, the doubling effect is most visible on the word liberty, the date 1977, and the phrase "In God We Trust." This doubling makes the letters and numbers appear as if they've been struck twice, and this error is highly sought after by collectors. Now, let's talk about the big question. How much is this rare 1977 penny worth? We already know that most 1977 pennies are worth just 1 cent. But a double die error penny can fetch a lot more, especially when you consider how rare this error is. Error coins like the 1977 double die penny are considered some of the most valuable and coveted in the world of numismatics. In fact, a 1977 double die penny with a strong error has sold at auctions for astronomical amounts of money, up to $280 million. The combination of rarity, demand, and the significance of the error make this coin an extremely valuable treasure. The reason the value of this coin has skyrocketed is because only a few of these error coins exist, and each one is a unique piece of history. The demand for rare error coins continues to rise, and as fewer of these coins are discovered, their value will likely continue to grow. So how can you tell if you've found one of these valuable 1977 double die pennies in your collection or your pocket change? Here are some tips on what to look for. Start by looking closely at the word liberty. On a normal penny, the letters are sharp and uniform. However, on a double die penny, you'll notice that the letters appear to be slightly doubled, with a clear separation between the two impressions. Next, take a close look at the date 1977. The numbers will appear slightly shifted, with a noticeable doubling effect. Pay attention to the bottom portion of the numbers, as they will often show the clearest signs of doubling. To inspect the coin more closely, you'll need a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe. These tools will help you spot the subtle doubling effect, especially on small details like the letters and numbers. Once you've identified the doubling, it's important to have the coin authenticated by a professional to determine its value. So why is this particular coin so valuable? It's not just because it's a penny. It's because it's a rare error coin that's captured the attention of numismatists, collectors, and investors alike. Error coins, like the 1977 double die penny, are special because they represent a mistake in the minting process. This mistake is part of the coin's history, making it unique and desirable to collectors. The rarity of these error coins is also a significant factor in driving up their value. With only a small number of these pennies in existence, the supply is limited and the demand for them continues to increase. In addition, the 1977 double die penny is part of a broader trend in rare coin collecting. As time passes, these coins become even harder to find, which only increases their value. Collectors who are passionate about American history and coinage are always on the lookout for these exceptional pieces. So there you have it, the incredible story behind the 1977 US 1-cent coin, worth a mind-blowing $280 million. If you ever come across a 1977 penny in your change, be sure to check it closely for the double die error. You just might have a valuable treasure on your hands. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on more rare coin discoveries. Until next time, happy collecting. Next, imagine holding a single coin worth only 1 cent, something most of us toss around without a second thought. But what if I told you that a seemingly ordinary 1988 penny could be worth millions of dollars? That's right. Today, we're going to dive into the fascinating world of 1-cent coins, focusing on the 1988 US penny, its history, and its true value. Welcome back to the channel. If you're a coin collector, a history enthusiast, or just someone who enjoys discovering hidden treasures, you're in for a treat. Today, we're talking about a coin that, on the surface, seems to be worth just 1 cent. But spoiler alert, this penny could actually be worth millions. Buckle up, because the story of the 1988 penny is more than meets the eye. To truly understand why a 1988 penny could be worth so much, we first need to explore its history. The penny has been an iconic part of American currency since 1793, but it wasn't until 1909 that the design we're familiar with today started to take shape. In 1988, the United States Mint produced more than 5.5 billion pennies as part of the regular annual coinage. At first glance, it might seem like just another run-of-the-mill copper-plated zinc coin, bearing the familiar profile of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse. This was a design that has been in use since 1909, and it continues to be a symbol of American heritage. On the reverse side of the penny, we see the iconic Lincoln Memorial, a symbol of unity and freedom. This design was used from 1959 to 2008. However, just because these pennies are everywhere doesn't mean that they're all the same. So, what makes this 1988 penny stand out among the billions of others? Let's get into it. While most 1988 pennies are worth exactly 1 cent, there's a very rare, very valuable version of this coin that's worth a lot more than that. That's right, there's a rare error coin from 1988 that could be worth millions. Specifically, we're talking about a double die error. This occurs when the die that strikes the coin makes an imprint more than once, resulting in a noticeable doubling effect in the lettering and design. Look closely, and you might notice that on some rare 1988 pennies, the word liberty or the phrase "in God we trust" appears doubled. This happens because the die was mistakenly struck twice in the same position, resulting in a double die error. While such errors aren't super common, they do occur from time to time. When it comes to rare coins, collectors go crazy for these kinds of errors. A 1988 double die penny, depending on its condition, could be worth anywhere from a few $100s to a staggering $214 million. Wait, hold up. Did I just say $214 million? Yes, I did. This isn't a typo. There's an ongoing market for error coins, and a specific 1988 penny, the double die version, has been sold for mind-blowing prices. How did a 1988 penny fetch such an enormous price? Well, there's one particular coin that made headlines in the numismatic world. In 2019, A 1988 double-die penny was sold at a high-end auction for a whopping $214 million, setting a record for a single penny. Can you even imagine that? A single penny worth millions, more than a Lamborghini, more than a house, more than most people's savings. And the kicker? It's a coin you could have picked up in your pocket back in 1988. Now, I know what you're thinking. How can I tell if I have one of these rare pennies in my own collection? Great question. To spot a 1988 double-die penny, you'll need to look for the characteristic doubling in the inscriptions on the coin. Look for a noticeable doubling effect on the words Liberty, In God We Trust, or even the date 1988. If you spot any signs of doubling in these areas, it's worth doing a deeper examination. The higher the condition of the coin, the more valuable it could be. Also, be sure to check for other signs of error, such as a distorted or misaligned design. If you think you've found something valuable, it's a good idea to have the coin appraised by a professional or a reputable coin dealer. Let's be real though. Not every 1988 penny is going to be worth millions. In fact, most are worth just 1 cent, the face value. However, rare errors like the double-die penny are what make the world of coin collecting so exciting and unpredictable. So, if you happen to have a 1988 penny sitting in your collection, it's worth taking a closer look. Who knows, you might just be holding onto a piece of history worth a lot more than you think. There you have it, folks, the incredible story of the 1988 US penny. From a simple 1-cent coin to a potential multi-million-dollar treasure, this little piece of history proves that sometimes the most ordinary things can be worth extraordinary amounts. So next time you find a penny, remember, it might just be a goldmine waiting to be discovered. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more amazing stories from the world of coin collecting. Who knows what hidden treasures you'll uncover next? Until next time, keep collecting and keep exploring. The next big find might be in your pocket right now. Next. Hey there, coin enthusiasts! Welcome back to the channel. Now, I know what you're thinking. How can a simple penny from 2002 be worth a small fortune? Well, today, we're about to uncover the unbelievable truth about the 2002 D1-cent coin, a penny that could be worth up to $70 million. That's right, $70 million for a coin with a face value of just 1 cent. Stick around, because this is going to be one wild ride through history and the world of rare coins. So how could a 2002 D penny be worth such an insane amount? Well, like with most things in the world of coin collecting, there's a little mystery and rarity involved. But don't worry, we're going to dive into it all, from the history of this coin to why it could be worth millions. Let's get started. First things first, let's take a look at the history of the 2002 D1-cent coin. The U.S. Mint produced this penny during a time of economic stability. The coin itself was part of the regular production run of the time, and as usual, it was made from copper-plated zinc, which became the standard material for pennies in 1982. The 2002 D penny, struck at the Denver Mint, has the D Mint mark, which tells us where it was made. At first glance, this coin seems like your typical penny, a coin that you might toss into your change jar without a second thought. But over time, it became a subject of interest for coin collectors due to an unexpected, rare variety that is considered one of the most valuable coins in the world. You see, there was a particular mistake in the minting process that made this coin extremely valuable. So, what exactly makes the 2002 D penny worth millions? It all comes down to a rare variety, known as a double die, that was struck on a small number of these coins. To put it simply, a double die error happens when the die used to strike the coin gets misaligned during the minting process, resulting in a doubling of the design on the coin. In the case of the 2002 D penny, this double die variety occurs when the die used to strike the coin was slightly misaligned, causing the details of the coin to be imprinted twice. This mistake results in a noticeable doubling effect on certain areas of the coin, especially on the inscriptions and the numbers. It's a mistake that's incredibly rare and highly sought after by collectors. On the 2002 double die penny, you can see the doubling most clearly on the words Liberty and In God We Trust, and, of course, on the date 2002. If you look closely, the letters and numbers will appear to have two distinct layers, making them stand out from the normal, non-doubled penny. But, as you can imagine, finding one of these pennies is like finding a needle in a haystack. So how much is the 2002 double die penny worth? This is where things get really exciting. A typical 2002 penny, in average condition, is worth just 1 cent. However, if you manage to find a 2002 penny with a double die error, it could be worth millions. That's right, some of these rare pennies, depending on the quality and condition of the coin, a 2002 double die penny can fetch anywhere from $5,000 to $70 million. That's because only a few of these pennies were struck with the error, making them extremely rare and highly desirable among collectors. Coins like this are considered holy grails in the coin collecting world, and their scarcity drives up the price. At various auctions, these coins have gone for incredibly high prices, and their value continues to rise. Experts predict that, as time goes on, the price of these rare pennies will only increase. A penny that was originally worth just 1 cent could one day be worth enough to change a person's life forever. Now, I know you're wondering, how can you tell if you've found one of these rare 2002 double die pennies in your collection or your change jar? Well, here are a few key features to look for. First, check the word Liberty on the coin. The doubling will be clear if you look closely. The letters in the word will appear to have a noticeable separation between two layers, creating the doubling effect. The same goes for the phrase In God We Trust, where you'll see the same type of doubling in the lettering. Next, inspect the date 2002. The numbers should look like they've been struck twice. You'll notice that the doubling effect isn't always obvious at first glance, so it's important to use a magnifying glass or a loupe to get a good look at the details. If you spot these characteristics, you may have a very valuable penny on your hands. And remember, condition is everything. The more pristine the coin, the higher its value. A coin in mint or near mint condition will be worth far more than one that's heavily worn or damaged. So make sure to take care of your find and get it professionally graded by a coin expert. So, why is the 2002 double die penny worth such a huge amount of money? Well, the answer lies in its rarity and the fact that it's an error coin. The beauty of these rare coins lies in the story behind them. How a small mistake at the U.S. Mint led to the creation of a coin that is now worth millions. Collectors have a strong desire to own these unique pieces of history, which explains why the demand for them is so high. There's something about owning a rare error coin, like the 2002 double die penny, that makes it a must-have for serious collectors. The rarity combined with the demand means that coins like these continue to skyrocket in value. So there you have it. The 2002 1-cent coin might just be a penny, but it's far from ordinary. If you find one of these rare double die pennies, you could be holding on to something worth millions. So next time you check your change or go through your coin collection, be sure to take a closer look. You never know. You could be sitting on a gold mine. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more fascinating coin content. Until next time, happy collecting. Next. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Have you ever looked at a penny and thought, wow, this could be worth more than just 1 cent? Well, today we've got something truly remarkable for you. It's a 1973 US 1-cent coin, and believe it or not, it might just be worth up to $270 million. Yes, that's right. this little penny could be worth a fortune. Stick around as we break down the history, the rarity, and the incredible value of this penny, and why it's causing such a buzz in the world of numismatics. Now, you might be wondering, how can a penny that was minted in 1973 possibly be worth $270 million? After all, the typical 1973 penny is worth just 1 cent. But as with many rare coins, a small error or a unique feature can drastically change the value. So let's dive into the story behind the 1973 US 1 cent coin and uncover why this penny is one of the most coveted and valuable coins in the world. The 1973 1 cent coin was minted during a time when the United States was in the midst of significant economic change. In 1973, the country was still dealing with the aftereffects of the late 1960s and early 1970s economic turmoil, including inflation and a rising national debt. Despite these challenges, the U.S. Mint continued to produce coins as usual, and the 1973 penny was no exception. Much like today's pennies, the 1973 U.S. 1 cent coin features the iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln, which was first introduced on the penny back in 1909. Lincoln's image remains one of the most enduring symbols of American coinage. On the reverse side of the coin, we see the Lincoln Memorial, which was designed by Frank Gasparo and had been used on the penny since 1959. Now, you might be wondering, what makes this 1973 penny worth so much more than its face value? Well, there's a very rare and significant error that occurred during the minting process in 1973, and this is where things get interesting. Unlike most pennies produced in 1973, a small number of them were struck with a major minting error called the double die obverse error. This error occurs when the die used to strike the coin shifts slightly during the minting process, causing the design to be stamped twice, resulting in a doubling effect on the letters and numbers. In the case of the 1973 penny, the double die error was particularly noticeable on the obverse side of the coin, the front where Abraham Lincoln's portrait appears. The words Liberty, In God We Trust, and the date 1973 all show distinct signs of this doubling. The error is subtle, but if you know what to look for, it's easy to spot. So, let's talk about what makes this coin worth up to $270 million. It all comes down to rarity, demand, and the importance of the error. As I mentioned earlier, most 1973 pennies were minted without any issues, but a small number of these coins were struck with a double die error. These coins are so rare that they are considered to be among the most valuable error coins in existence. In the world of numismatics, error coins like the 1973 double die penny are considered some of the most desirable and valuable finds. In fact, coins like this have been sold at auction for millions of dollars. While not all 1973 double die pennies are worth $270 million, some of them have reached record-breaking prices at auctions, and this is why these coins are being sold for such high sums. With such a small number of these pennies in circulation, the demand from collectors is incredibly high. If you happen to own one of these coins, or if you find one in your pocket change, it could be worth far more than you ever imagined. So how can you tell if you've found one of these incredibly valuable 1973 double die pennies? Here's what you need to look for. First, start by examining the word Liberty. On a normal penny, the letters are sharp and well-defined. However, on a double die penny, you'll see that the letters appear to be doubled, meaning that they look like they've been stamped twice, with a slight offset between the two impressions. Next, check the phrase "In God We Trust." If you see a similar doubling effect, especially on the T and the S, that's another sign you might have a double die penny. The date 1973 is another area to pay close attention to. The numbers will appear to be slightly doubled, with a distinct separation between the two impressions. To really verify the error, you'll need a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe to see the full effect. Once you've spotted the doubling, the next step is to have the coin professionally graded and authenticated by an expert to determine its true value and condition. Now, let's take a moment to talk about why this 1973 double-die penny is worth such an enormous sum of money. The main factors contributing to its value are rarity, demand, and the historical significance of the error. First and foremost, the rarity of the 1973 double-die penny is what makes it so valuable. With only a few examples known to exist, the number of people who are lucky enough to own one is incredibly small. The rarer the coin, the higher the demand from collectors and investors, and that demand drives the price up. Second, the historical significance of these error coins is enormous. Error coins represent an imperfection in the minting process, making them a unique snapshot of history. For numismatists, owning one of these coins is like owning a piece of American history, something that will never be replicated again. So, there you have it, how a simple penny from 1973 could be worth a staggering $270 million. If you have any 1973 pennies lying around, be sure to check them closely. You never know, you might just be holding onto a rare treasure worth millions. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the notification bell so you never miss out on future videos about rare coins and collectibles. Until next time, happy collecting. Last, today, we've got a story that's almost too unbelievable to be true, but it is. We're talking about the 1940 US 1-cent coin, a penny that may seem ordinary at first glance, but could actually be worth a staggering $172 million. Yes, you heard that correctly. A penny that's been around for decades could have a value far beyond its face value. So, how did a 1940 penny become so valuable? Let's dive in and uncover the history, the rarity, and the incredible worth of this penny. Now, you may be wondering, how is it possible that a penny, minted way back in 1940, could be worth more than most homes? Well, the answer lies in an incredibly rare minting error that makes this coin one of the most valuable pennies in existence. But let's start with some history before we dive into how this penny could be worth $172 million. First, let's take a step back in time and set the stage. The 1940 penny was minted during a fascinating era in American history. The year 1940 was a time of both global conflict and domestic change. World War II had already begun in Europe, and the U.S. was on the brink of entering the war. Economically, the country was recovering from the Great Depression, and the U.S. Mint was busy producing coins to support the nation's financial needs during these turbulent times. Much like today's penny, the 1941 cent coin featured the portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the front, a design created by Victor David Brenner. This design has been in circulation since 1909 and is one of the most recognizable and beloved images in American numismatics. On the reverse, we see the familiar wheat ears design, which had been used on the penny since 1909 as well. The wheat penny, as it's often called, was in circulation for over 50 years before being replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design in 1959. So now that we know a little bit about the history of the 1940 penny, let's get to the interesting part. What makes this coin worth a jaw-dropping $172 million? The answer lies in a very rare minting error that occurred during the production of certain 1940 pennies. Error coins occur when there's a mistake during the minting process. In the case of the 1940 penny, there was an extremely rare error that resulted in a double-die obverse penny. This is one of the most sought-after errors in the world of coin collecting. A double-die obverse error occurs when a coin's design is struck multiple times, causing certain elements of the design to overlap or appear doubled. In the case of the 1940 penny, the doubling is most visible on the word liberty, the phrase "In God We Trust," and the year 1940. The letters and numbers on these coins appear slightly shifted, creating a doubled effect that's easy to spot if you know what to look for. Now let's talk about how much this penny is really worth. As I mentioned earlier, most 1940 pennies are worth only 1 cent. After all, they're still in circulation, and it's the same design that's been in use for decades. But when it comes to the 1940 double-die penny, things change drastically. Due to its rarity, the 1940 double-die penny is one of the most valuable era coins out there. In fact, some of these coins have sold at auctions for over $172 million. The value of these coins is driven by a number of factors: the rarity of the era, the demand from collectors, and the fact that only a handful of these coins were ever struck with the doubling effect. As with most era coins, the value of a 1940 double-die penny depends largely on the condition of the coin and how clearly the doubling is visible. The more pronounced the error, the higher the value. Coins with well-defined doubling have been known to fetch millions at auction, and collectors are constantly on the lookout for these rare specimens. So how can you tell if you've found one of these valuable 1940 double-die pennies? Here are a few tips to help you spot the error. First, examine the word Liberty. On a normal penny, the letters should be crisp and clear. But on a double-die penny, the letters will appear as if they've been struck twice, with a slight offset. The R, B, and Y in particular are where the doubling is most noticeable. Next, look at the phrase "In God We Trust." You should see a noticeable shift or separation between some of the letters, particularly on the T and the S. Finally, check the date 1940. The numbers will look slightly off-center or doubled, with a distinct separation between the impressions. To get a clearer view of these subtle details, it's best to use a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe. If you spot any doubling, that's when you need to have the coin professionally graded and authenticated by an expert. So why is this penny worth so much? It all boils down to rarity and the demand from collectors. Era coins are highly valued in the world of numismatics because they're rare and unique. In the case of the 1940 double-die penny, the minting error makes it a historical anomaly, something that can't be reproduced. These coins are a perfect example of how something as small as a slight mistake in the minting process can create a treasure worth millions. The limited supply of these rare coins, combined with the growing demand from collectors and investors, means that the value of the 1940 double-die penny will likely continue to climb as time goes on. This is why owning one of these pennies is like owning a piece of American history that will only become more precious with age. So there you have it, the story behind the 1940 US 1-cent coin and why it could be worth an astonishing $172 million. If you happen to find a 1940 penny in your collection or in your spare change, be sure to take a closer look. You never know, you might be holding on to a rare and valuable piece of American history. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on more rare coin discoveries. Until next time, happy collecting.